Good afternoon to everybody. I know we are running a little bit on the late side by about an hour. And so we had some technical difficulties today, which is nothing new in this day and age. So thanks for being patient with us all here. So today's show is really kind of an exciting one. I'm happy to have a conversation with Brad Fetters. He does some beautiful custom work. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about batten board and maybe some shiplap and, how to decorate your walls. In today's modern homes, we are always looking for more to do. And so a little bit about us. So we've been licensed for, I say we, my husband, myself, our son joined us as well. But we've been in real estate for over 20 years. And we've helped over 1,000 different families buy and sell. And so one of the things that we've learned over all this time, there's always all these questions, and we wanted to bring some of those questions to the public and just be able to share some of this information. But with the questions, the walls, decorating. So I think what he has is really beautiful work and will help the value of your house tremendously. And we'll kind of talk about that as well. So I'm going to switch over and introduce you to Brad Fetters. So hang on one second here. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Debbie.
So we're finally live. We had all that technical difficulty, goodness gracious, but we got here. So you want to take a minute and introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. I'm Brad Fetters. I'm the owner operator of Brad Fetters Custom Wood Furnishings. I've been woodworking for quite a while, 10, 15 years, but just officially decided to take the leap and start my own business about a year ago. And it's been a wonderful first year. I really hoped that my good fortune continues, and it's just been great. I love what I do, and never really understood when people said you never work if you love what you do, but now I do, and it's wonderful. So yeah, like I said, I've been doing this. I'd say more than just a hobby before this, like a passion of mine, and I'm just really glad that now I can do it as a living. So been in business for, like I said, about a year now, and it's been great. I've had the opportunity to do some wonderful things, work with some wonderful people, and it's just been a real pleasure.
It's funny you said something that I do live by, and I say this all the time. Somebody said, you'll never work a day in your life. No, find a job that you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Right. Yep.
And it sounds like you found that secret there.
Yeah. When I'm here in my shop with a pile of wood and my tools, time is non-existent, and I'm just in my own little happy place, if you will.
Love it. No, absolutely love it. I've seen some of your work I know someone recently had I know we're going to talk about batten board, but somebody recently had you make them barn doors.
Yes.
And beautiful barn doors. I'm going to do some screenshots in a little while, and so I can try and bring that up as well. But in talking about batten board, so what do you know about the history of it or the subject of it before we actually even get into the designs?
So board and batten is kind of it is a timeless, it's become a design element, but it actually started as something with some functionality. When colonists first came over, all our homes were just made out of just wood, with nothing else really. And they used boards for the siding of their house, but with their rudiment tools, they weren't able to completely seal the cracks. So
interesting.
They cut little strips, and that's called the batten, and that's what they put to seal the cracks. So there you have your board and your batten. So kind of a neat little history of that. It's still used functionally today on outbuildings like barns and garden sheds, things of that nature. But for homes, both exterior and interior, it's more of a decorative element now, and like I just said, it's been around for a while, and I don't think it's really going anywhere. So it's something that if you do decide to incorporate either in the exterior or interior, which is where I am. I do it on the interior of the home. It's not something in 10 years, I don't think that's going to be out of style or detract any value or appeal to your home.
I think you're exactly right. You know, I think it's something it's here to stay. In real estate, we always talk about tried and true.
Mm-hmm.
That what is always going to be in style inside of someone's house. There's some very, very, very contemporary, which is very particular to a contemporary buyer. But the tried and true type of items like what you're doing has been around, will be around in the future. And it's just absolutely so beautiful. So in talking about, and I'm calling it batten board, it's actually
Board
board
and
and batten.
batten. Yeah.
Oh, I'm backwards on that. Sorry about that.
Nope. No problem.
So board and batten. I've looked at it, I've seen it, I've seen photos of it, and I don't know exactly how it's installed. So is this complex to do?
No, not really. At least not the way I do it. It's simple, but it's not simple. But it basically all I do is get a 1/8 inch piece of hardboard, and I'll put a coat of primer on it, and then a top coat of some quality premium paint, and that will go up first. You might be able to see that in some of the pictures that you'll show later. I put that up first. Most of the homes I've worked with have the textured walls. Most of the newer homes have those textured walls, so it
Right.
does look better to put that hardboard up first to give it a smooth back. Now you can do it without and just put the board over the textured walls. I have done it that way, and it
Mhm.
looks good, but most people prefer to have that smooth texture to set the wall off even more than just the boards do. So I start with that, put that on there. There's a lot of math involved. It's simple math, but when you're dealing with a large area, you got to be pretty close because you have to hide the seams with the board
Yeah.
just right. And if your spacing gets off, then it could look a little funky. So there is some brain work involved, but once you get going, it's not too bad. And once that backer board is up to give it that smooth appearance, I'll put just 1x4. I'll use MDF because it has a cleaner look when it's done
Mhm.
than any affordable solid woods.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you use a solid wood, the only real affordable one you could for a project of any size would be pine. And that's okay, but you have to really be selective in the boards because you can have warps, cups, bows, twists, and that can actually happen over time as well, even after it's off as the wood loses more excuse me, more of its moisture. So if you
That,
wanted real wood, you'd have to use something a little more expensive.
but
And
that's a real good point because I don't think people really take that into consideration, thinking, oh, I can just go buy 1x2 or whatever size wood they want to put up.
yeah,
And
right.
but what's going to happen later on? All of a sudden, you're going to have a board with a bow in it.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, typically, I mean, there is an industry standard. They're not supposed to sell it below a certain amount of moisture in it and whatnot. But especially, with your cheaper woods like pine, which is really, like I said, the only affordable way you could do like a large wall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have to be very selective on the boards you get. Now, if you used, a hardwood like oak or whatever, that's super expensive. And if you're gonna paint it, then you're not even going to know it's oak really. So
Right,
I
right.
found the best way to go is just use MDF. It keeps its shape, it looks clean, it's uniform.
Nice.
Unless you're like I'm still kind of a wood purist, but I overall it's just better option I think for this
And
particular
I,
application.
with what I hear, I think it's when, as a wood purist, to use the best wood at the appropriate time. Because I know you've made a beautiful desk. So
Hmm.
obviously that's not going to be painted. That's going to show the beautiful wood. So
Right.
that's when you're going to have that quality. But if you're
Yeah.
going to paint it, number one, you're not going to see the quality of the wood that's behind it. So you really want something that's going to be long lasting, more so than the beauty of the wood. It
Sure.
sounds like to me.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
And,
Yep.
and it's funny because listening to you a few minutes ago, you talked about the math. The part that I would wonder about is having the board like this,
Oh,
so
the
you have
leveling, yeah.
all the horizontal boards or all the vertical boards, making sure that they are perfectly spaced out and perfectly aligned
Yeah.
versus, I love to use my hands. I love to do things like this, but I do not think I could tackle that project because of the math involved, because making sure that every board is beautifully straight. That would drive me crazy.
Yeah, it can be it can actually be frustrating sometimes. Things don't always go but as they should or as you would like to, but in the end it seems to work out. And I mean, like to your point, it's just you kind of the biggest hurdle for me in this was just gaining the confidence to go for it and do it, and then once you start doing something and you practice and practice, then eventually, you get pretty good at it. So,
Well, I'm going to pull up your screen real quick. Let me just change this real quick, and we can kind of give some examples and talk about it. So this, let's see, this picture is kind of what I was thinking about with all those horizontal and vertical lines.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
oh,
that was a tough one. It was on. I don't know if you can click on them individually, make any of them bigger. I can make them out because I know what they're pictures of. But that was
let's
on a
see.
staircase wall, so I had to get up. The uppermost corner was 16. Yeah, the upper right on the screen was about 16 feet off the first landing on the stairs. So that was a little tough. Never mind everything else we just discussed, but also getting up there to those higher points
Yeah.
was a little tricky. So,
Well, I mean,
but
it's kind of like a painter when he's on those stairs trying to paint up there. You've got to balance yourself with the vertical of the stairs and whatnot, let alone have a nail gun, have
yeah,
your wood. Yeah, that's a
hmm
lot.
yeah. Yeah, well, I had help. I didn't do this by myself. I have a lady that lives in our community, Tracy, who
Yeah.
who helps me out a lot. She's great, and so that definitely helped. It's sometimes I just can't do some of these jobs, by myself.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. And so, I mean, I think it's a absolute beautiful trim on that. So I'm going to go back to the other pages real quick. Let's see. So this is another view of that.
Hmm.
Is this the
Yep.
same house?
It is, yeah. The last picture you just showed was from downstairs behind that knee wall that you see there, and then this is from the upstairs loft that the staircase leads to. So all in all, it was 16 feet horizontally and 14, almost 15 feet vertically. So it was a pretty massive wall. It took me 3 days
Wow.
to do the actual install, and about the prep goes pretty quick, painting the boards and painting the backer and all that. And just one thing I could mention real quick is to get that smooth back, you could also do what's called a skim coat. And I haven't done that before, but I know it's something you can do if you have textured walls. You can kind of take it's almost like a joint compound, but
Got it.
but not, and you just, like the name skim coat, you just skim it across the wall and give it the smooth uh, finish. But I find that putting up the backer board, you can just paint it, put it up there, and you're good to go. No mess, no fuss. You just got to be careful where you place the board. So that would be, you know,
Mm.
the advantage of the skim coat is you don't have any seams you got to worry about covering.
Yeah.
But
But I would think that having the backer board it's I would think it's easier, but I think it's a much smoother backing.
yeah, it's very
You know,
consistent. Yep. You wouldn't
it's
have to.
more consistent. Yeah, that's
Right.
a good way to say it. Because I know the orange peel that most of the newer homes have, it
Hmm.
has that orange. It looks like the outside of an orange. That's why they call it orange peel.
Right.
Um, but it's bumpy, and so that could be a headache to have that and have your boards attached to that bumpiness, I guess is the best way I could say it.
Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it definitely gives a smooth adhesion because I use a nail gun and liquid nails, which is just a
Uh,
liquid adhesive that you put into a caulk gun on the back of the
gotcha.
boards. So it's kind of double
doubly.
fastened. Yeah, yeah.
And I think this one picture, and I can show some other ones, but this is a really good example of what could be a really boring wall, a
Yeah, there should
plain
be a
wall.
before picture there. If you
Let
go
me
back.
switch here. Yeah, let's switch and see if I can get that before picture. But you know, when you have a plain old wall, okay, here's
Yeah, there
I
you
see
go.
the one of the stairs. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, look at these. Okay. This will show the plain wall and it's going to show you up on your ladder. Goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the plain wall from the stairs side. But, you know, when we have these homes that have basic plain walls, and a lot of them. There's not a whole lot of architectural to the newer homes. And
Hmm.
so that's where you come in. You add that to that plain wall. And I've seen this in a master bedroom, the living room, the family room, someone's office.
Hmm.
Um, Not just the staircase is harder to do, but you know,
Yeah, and
it's
this was
there.
right. Yeah, and this was right when you enter their front door too. So this is like the first thing you see, which made it a really good spot too. But you can do it on any wall, really, and it doesn't even have to be just do it on a wall. It could be incorporated into something else. Like I've used board and batten as sort of the backdrop, if you will, on like a drop zone where you come into the garage, you have a little bench and some cubbies for shoes and whatever. It's the options are endless.
It's
So you
endless. And it's kind of like, in a sense, it's almost a shiplap. It's the same. You're using wood trim on a plain wall. So
Mhm.
shiplap is a version of
It
that
yeah,
wood.
it accentuates the wall so that they'll both do that job. Now I will say, um, working with a lot of different homeowners, that and just talking to people in general about my craft, shiplap seems like one of those things that people either love or they don't really like it at all. There's not a whole
Mm,
lot of in between, I found. So unlike board and batten, where I think it's safe to say that you can put that in, it's not going to go out of style, it's always going to be something interesting and great. um, Shiplap, I can't say that with as much certainty. I mean, and I
mm,
have some shiplap in my house, so I'm not anti shiplap or anything. It's just that I've talked to some people that don't like it at all. So whether or not that would influence them if they were buying a home or not, if there was a bunch of walls with shiplap, I don't know. But like right here, here's a bathroom that has shiplap. Personally, I think that
mm.
looks great, and it also kind of helps protect the wall as well there on the lower half in the bathroom. But so yeah, with shiplap, I have mixed opinions on that, but
Mhm.
so I guess maybe that's more of like a personal preference.
You know, it's funny you say that because I think shiplap came to be really popular more in the farm style of a home. Yet I had a guest on one of the first shows I had. Um, he had it in his office painted black,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's really really beautiful. So it's not looking like a farm style house. It
Yep.
just gave such an elegance. So you know, we see the shiplap. We always think about white because it came from what Chip and JoJo, you know, from the show from Fixer Upper really. And she always talked about shiplap, and it was always white. But now, if you because a lot of cabinetry is coming in with a navy blue or darker
Mhm.
colors, to paint the shiplap in that same beautiful color could really be a nice accent as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm doing a fireplace build out in a couple months here for a client, and it's going to have black shiplap, and I think that's going to be really neat. It definitely, I think it helps modernize it, and it's kind of with that trend of people are going with some darker colors, and like this picture you're showing right now, the navy blue. I've seen a lot of that lately. That seems to be
Mhm.
very popular. This dark blue, using it not obviously for all your walls, but just to accentuate a wall or two here and there.
Well, you know, and the thing about paint, and for us in real estate, you know, we have buyers who walk in a house and they like, oh my gosh, it's painted blue or it's painted red or whatever it is, but the functionality of the house is perfect for them. So we always talk about it's only a can of paint.
Mm.
You know, you can pick up a can of paint for $30, $50, whatever it is. So, you know, people shouldn't be afraid of using any type of paint on their wall, you know, because a lot of people, and in my mind, we always think about resale. That's always something that we always talk to people about. But you can go in and repaint that little blue wall. That's such a small spot, right?
Hmm.
So even if this homeowner wanted to change it in 2 years because now the blues go into greens, I don't know, whatever color they choose, you can paint that so easily.
Sure. Yeah.
It's such
Yeah.
an easy project. So, but this, I want to show this different style of board and batten is really attractive as well.
Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be a square. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. I just did this a couple weeks ago for a client. I also did the window trim up top. I think that goes really nice with the bottom, but same procedure and everything, same materials. Um, you know, the smooth backer board on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and 1x4 MDF. For the boards, and I used real wood for the window trim, 1x4 pine. I bought it already primed, which you'll have more luck with, like straighter boards when you go that
Right.
route. So, but the two of
Yeah,
them together look pretty awesome, if I do say so.
I think it's terrific. And I was going to ask you if you did those windows because there are, and then again, the newer construction homes have these little windows and they're kind of like non-existent. I actually have them in my house.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. See right there? Can you see them right there?
Yeah, I can see them. There's a lot of sunlight, but I definitely see them. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like they're just plain walls. I mean, plain windows, and there's no wood trim. And I love the wood trim. That's one of the things that, you know, I've thought about adding to our house as well. So I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, yeah, it gives it a classy, almost like a high-end kind of look. It is really neat, and it's not, going to break the bank either, and it's a pretty simple thing to do. So it's
And
not.
I think you hit it. And it makes the house more high end.
Hmm.
You know, so it's a richness about it because generations ago, all the windows had wood trim around them. And so again, going back to resale, when a home buyer or home buyer walks through the front door and they see all the extra trim that someone has invested and put into their house, you know, all these little things and tricks that we're talking about, I always think about, does it add value to a house? Does it create what I call saleability factor for a
Hmm.
house? And in my opinion, somebody walk in the front door to visit this house, they're going to have a wow factor. I think that house, if it went on the market, would sell much quicker than a couple other houses that may not have this. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I totally agree, and I'm not a realtor or anything, but I have, been home shopping before, if you will, and sometimes when you're out looking, people work and everything. So it's like, okay, we got this Saturday. We're going to go look at 10 houses in one day, And when you're going back over that night or the next day, the houses that you looked at, it's these kind of things I think that are going to make one of the houses or a couple of the houses stand up above the rest. You're going to remember these little things, and that's going to kind of give the seller, in this case, a little bit of an edge over the
Mhm.
rest of them, because there's those things that are going to make an impression on the buyer. I don't know if you agree with that, but I think you would.
You know, I am a realtor, so I see these things, and I think you are spot on 100%. Um, you know, at the end of the day, if someone's looking at 10 houses, honest to goodness, as a realtor, I always say on your notes, make a note of the house that had this, the house that had that, or the house that didn't have. So at the end of the day, if there's 10 houses, they narrow it down and they can make a sense of what they saw. They're going to notate this one with all the wood trim in the house. If they
Mhm.
call it board and batten, whatever they should call it, they'll make a note that this house had all the upgrades. And we look at these as upgrades because a basic builder house doesn't come with all the extras. Um, some will if you get into the upper price ranges, but you don't have to have a house in the upper price ranges to put this in your house.
Hmm.
But it looks like it is in that price range. And
And a lot of a lot of the times, if you have it put in by the builder, if you're having a home built, they are going to charge you an arm and a leg for something like what we're looking at on the screen now, where it's if anybody's building, um, it might be definitely a better financial decision to have it done aftermarket, if you will. I know it's easier kind of to have it all in one and do it through the builder, but you will pay through the nose compared to hiring someone like me to come in after the fact and do the work. And plus, someone like me, I'll not that the builders don't care what the end product is, but I really do care. It's my name on it, so I'm going to make sure that it's quality work. Whereas you might, just get a contractor who's got a contract with the builder, who's just going to come in, throw something up, and they're going to charge you 500% more than what it's actually worth. So just another thing to keep in mind.
And I could not agree with you more. When we are helping clients in buying new construction, one of the first things, because everyone has a budget, they're trying to stay within their budget. One of the first things I say to them is, when you go to the design center, you're going to want to pick out your quartz. You're going to probably pick out, the cabinetry, the flooring. But when it comes time to either a backsplash, the wall trim, any type of wood items like what you do, crown molding, whatever it is, I always tell them, do not pick that out through the design center, because you're going to pay 4 times as much as you would if you had somebody in your community put that in for you. And I always tell them, I have names. I keep a vendor list. So I have a vendor list with names on it, and you're on there. So I would hand that out to them and say, call these people, because they can do this after you close on your house, and you're going to spend a lot less. And I would add to that, you will meet with them face to face to find out what they're wanting, give them suggestions or ideas because of your experience, where the contractor who comes in, you're not even going to know that they're there. You don't know when it's going to be put up. You don't know anything about how they're doing what they're doing. So it's a personal type of conversation you'll have with them that they won't have.
Yeah, that's a great point you make. For something that the builder's just going to put in, it's a one size fits all. You don't really get to say, well, can you tweak this or tweak that, or make this a little bit different, or paint that different, or use a different wood, whatever it might be. When you have someone like me come over, we can work out, down to the last little detail, and so you know exactly what you're getting, and you get exactly what you want. So
absolutely. And example, like with the wood trim around these windows, the buyer will know what wood you're using. If they go through the builder, they don't really know what they're using on
yeah.
that.
Yep. In this one in particular, we were talking about how far out we wanted the bottom sill piece to come out, and so we got it down to like something very exact. I think it was like, well, we want it to come out 1 3/4 inch, so that's the beauty of having custom work done, is it truly is custom. It's what you want. And
absolutely.
So
I could not agree more. Because you've got different levels. I can see the trim is different levels of size of wood sticking out. So if you go through the builder, you'll probably get basic, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And probably not have a choice.
Yeah, no, I doubt you would have a whole lot of choice. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But if, for those of us who are always looking through architectural magazines or Better Homes and Gardens, whatever it is, and we see the wood trim, our eye catches to what we like, what we want. And then you go to the builder and they say, oh, well, we can't do that. So
yeah, that's not on our list.
Yes. So that's a great thought about it. So I'm realizing we've been on like a half hour, so I don't want to keep you much longer. I know you probably have projects. I'm going to real quick go to one more picture of on your Facebook though.
Sure.
Because I know you don't just do wood trim inside of homes. Here's one. Let's see. Let me get that. This is one thing I'll show real quick. So if anyone's looking at, oops, where'd it go? So you did that herringbone wall on
Hmm.
someone's behind their center. That's a really pretty thing that can be done.
Yeah, that was neat. Hmm.
And I know I was going to try and get that barnyard or barn door. Uh, let's see.
Done quite a few barn doors.
There's quite a lot on here. I can see that's okay. So
Yeah.
this looks like you did the shelving around that. Did you do the shelving and the fireplace itself, or just the?
I did the frame out for the fireplace,
Mhm.
and put the cement board on, and then I had someone else come in and do the tile, but I did the cabinets on the side and the floating shelves on the side as well. So, and like I was telling you earlier, I'm going to do something very similar to that, but instead of that ledger stone, that white quartzy looking ledger stone, it's going to be black shiplap. So,
Very nice.
so it's going to be kind of neat.
Yeah, I think it's really attractive because we all have this blank wall again. Because you
Hmm.
can kind of see right here in this picture,
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
a blank wall under the TV set, right? So that homeowners can do anything with that wall.
Yeah, yeah. The build out thing has gained a lot of steam. I see a lot of people doing it more and more. Even a nice just freestanding media console, it can be really neat too, and a little more cost
Hmm.
effective. If you're watching your finances or on a budget or whatever.
Hmm.
But the build out, isn't crazy expensive either, and it's built in. It looks like it's part of the home, and it's really neat. And actually, those electric fireplaces will put out some heat for those 2 days of cold that we get here in Florida. It will actually warm a room, believe it or not. It will.
Well, it's a combination of ambiance and a little bit of heat, and you can
Yeah.
decorate that for holidays, whatnot. I think it's great. I love it. I love
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking here at this picture, so I see you did a doggy
Yeah,
cage
no
there for
jokes.
somebody.
That's not how I punish my son. That
No,
was just for a photo op.
no, it's fun. It's so much fun. But just realizing you can build this for a homeowner.
Yeah, I really do all kinds of things. I mean, just anything wood, I will do. I can do pieces of furniture. We've went over like the different things today, the accent walls, but I've done desks,
Oh,
dressers, um,
somehow I got on somebody else's page there.
spring break, media
I don't know how
consoles.
that got in there.
So yeah, I'm a one-stop shop, and I handle everything from start to finish. We set up a consult, and I come out. I take a look at the space. We exchange ideas. We come up with something that we agree on. Provide a quote, and I get all the materials. I do as much prep work in my shop as I can, and then whatever work is required to be done in your home. I try not to be in someone's home for too long, just the amount of time it takes to get the job done. And I've been lucky. I've worked with some really awesome people, and have had a really good experience so far. So.
And that's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and put, I've got your phone number on there, but if
Mhm.
anyone's also, I should have put on there, it's Brad Fetters Custom Woodworking. So
Wood
if they want to go,
furnishings.
say it again.
Brad Fetters Custom Wood Furnishings. Yeah, you can just search it on Facebook, and it'll pop up, and you can look at everything I've done on my Facebook page. There's a ton of stuff on there.
And I'll go ahead and put that in there as well on the actual Facebook page that we have here.
Okay,
So if
thank
anybody
you.
wants to reach out to you, they can call you, they can go through your Facebook either, or they can go and look at some of the things that we were just looking at. There was a beautiful desk that you made,
Yeah.
barn doors that you've made. Obviously, the pet crate you can do. I know a lot of people are looking at like kind of like a barn door for their stairs, so at the bottom and the top. I've seen those made. I don't know if you've done that, but it's so much that, and woodworking is popular, but it's never going to go out of style.
Hmm. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, and it adds a uniqueness. It's
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah. So I will say thank you for joining, and sorry for the hiccups we had ahead of time, but technology was.
Oh,
Um,
it's fine. Thank you for inviting me. This was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Happy to support small businesses and show you what you can do. And so again, anybody who wants to reach out to Brad, there's his phone number. Feel free. I will have Brad's Facebook page typed up on our Facebook page, so you'll be able to grab that there as well. So I'm going to say bye to you, Brad. I appreciate it again, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you, Debbie. Take care.
So yeah, so that was great information. I know Brad does a lot of work for a lot of people in the community. I had somebody in South Tampa reach out to me and ask, hey, who do you know who does this beautiful wood trim? So I passed on Brad's information to them down in South Tampa, and he did a beautiful, beautiful job on their wall. They're very pleased. So I recommend him, and just hope you reach out to him. But again, if there's anything real estate wise that y'all need, reach out to us. If there's something you want for trim throughout your house or desk or furniture, reach out to Brad. And I appreciate everybody hopping on. So until next time, thank you much.